My name's Mark and this is my 1972 Plymouth Fury custom Suburban station wagon. I've been into cars since before I could drive. I bought myself a Morris Minor and I thought I'd restored it, but I didn't because I used parts of old washing machines to repair it. First actual car was a Ford Anglia. I've done MGs, I've been into Westfield sports cars I've done the Volkswagen scene. Got into my first American car about 15 years ago. It was a Pontiac Bonneville, 76 Pontiac Bonneville, and I've never looked back since. I've always had American cars for the last 15 or so years. I bought this car. I wanted something different to my previous car, which was a 59 Coupe de Ville Cadillac, which was my dream car. I sold that for personal reasons. My mum was ill and she loved going in the car and I didn't really want to drive the car anymore, and I wanted something completely different. This is completely different. Whereas the Cadillac was immaculate, chrome, and I was worried about it getting scratched, and I was worried about it getting dirty, I was worried about leaving it. This one I'm not so worried about doing any of those things. I can just take it, leave it anywhere. I got this car the day I saw my Cadillac. I was actually waving off the chap with my Cadillac. I was waving him off, leaving the drive, and my phone pinged in my pocket because I'd saved a search on eBay for American station wagon. And the moment he drove out of sight, my phone pinged, I looked at it, it came up on eBay, I went to see it the next day, it was in Fleetwood, and I bought it. Against everybody's better judgment, I actually bought it. Because I bought it because the way it looked, actually. If it didn't look like this, patinaed, I wouldn't have bought it. The car physically looked similar to it is now. It was patinaed. The story goes that the guy left it parked up in Albuquerque. It was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and it was under a dust cover. And a tree had dropped sap onto the dust cover. It was outside, and the sun had burnt through. So when he took the sheet off, this is what he found. But that's the reason I bought it, because it looks like this. The car came over, it was used as storage. The guy brought it over, it was into motorcycle parts. He used it as a container and he loaded it to the gunnels with motorcycle parts, put the car in a container, brought it over, and he advertised the car for sale. It wasn't registered in the UK, I actually got it registered in the UK. What I've done to this car over the years I've had it, I've serviced or gone through all the brakes, the hoses, the rubbers, I've put alternator on it. I've basically serviced it. Mechanically, the exhaust, the engine, the gearbox, they're untouched, they're all original because it's a low mileage car. It's only done 26,000 miles from new. Yeah, the wheel trims on the car, they were supposed to be a temporary measure until I got the obligatory alloys for it. I bought these off eBay, the plastic, they were £90 for 4. I can't find anything I like any better than these, and they seem to go down a storm at shows with people photographing the reflection of their own car next to it. So I've just left them on and I've got used to them. I think it actually suits the car. The interior is all original, apart from the dashboard. I've put a dash mat on. It had the sun had cracked the top of the dashboard, so I just bought a dash mat for it just to make it look a bit neater. Although it's a massive car, it's got a bench seat in the front, and some of my friends are a lot taller than me. One of them's over 6 foot, and he struggles for space because I have to have the seat forward because of my short legs, and he's struggling for space. So I suppose that's one of the downsides of a bench seat. The car's comfy, it's quiet, it's smooth. Actually, it's quite a modern driving car. It's just the fuel consumption. It's a 400 big block, so it's a 6.6 litre V8. So it does use a bit of fuel, but I think that's offset by the road tax and the insurance, and no MOT. I've put the searchlight on, it's just an ornament, it's not wired up, and I've got the curb feelers for a bit of period, just to look a bit period down there. When I got the car, the tyres were rotten. They were absolutely, completely rotten. So I put 4 new white wheels on the car. The wheels are the original wheels, 4 new white wheel tyres and those wheel trims that you can see on it. Yeah, well, one of the reasons I got the car was I love American memorabilia, and I've actually filled the car with quite a bit. I keep rotating what's on there. The surfboard's on there. I won that on eBay. I went to collect it off a young surfer dude, and he came out and I had a cordless drill in my hand, and he's trying to tell me about how good the surfboard was at bobbing and weaving and floating and buoyancy. I says, mate, within 5 minutes it's going to have 2 holes in it, I'm drilling it. He says, you're not a surfer? I says, no, do I look like a surfer? It's for the roof of my car. So the stuff on the roof, I was after a certain look. My partner said less is more when it comes to the roof, but for me, more is more. I just keep changing the roof now and again. I just love putting stuff on the roof. I just think it looks cool. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I just like doing it. I use the car just for fun, really. I go to car shows in it, use it as a bit of fun. I don't take the car seriously. I just love driving it, really. Just like people's reactions when they see me driving it. Get a lot of waves. I think the waves. Some people use only 2 fingers when they're waving, but generally it's positive. I think people generally like the car. When I go to shows, it does generate a lot more interest than I thought. I think it's because it's just different. It's not your average car that turns up at a show. I'm not going to get a rag out and polish it at a show. In fact, I have to, with my old Cadillac, I was worried when children leant on it if they were going to scratch it. With this, I'm worried that they're going to get covered in oil and grease for touching it, because instead of polishing it, I grease it and oil it. I actually won an award with it at a show a couple of weeks ago. I got 2nd best unique modification. I don't know what that actually means. All I've done is bolted stuff onto the roof, but I won an award for it anyway. This car is easier to drive than most cars, most modern cars. It's automatic, it's power steering, it's power brakes, it's disc brakes on the front. It's like driving a modern car. It's just the size. Once you get used to the size of it, it's easy. It's a delight to drive it. The top speed of this car is governed by how much fuel is in the tank. If you put your foot down on an empty road, private road, it'll do over 100, but it won't do it for long because it'll run out of fuel. When I got the car, I was repairing the headlights, and the headlights come up electrically. I did get that's how they come down, and I actually got my hand stuck underneath when I had my hand under here. It dropped down, took me by surprise. I've never done it again. There's no the body panels, if you need body panels, are very hard to get. Luckily, I don't need body panels. Spares are easy to get. Parts for American cars are pretty easy to get over here. Everything I've needed, I've been able to get within a few days for this car. This car's special to me. I love driving it and I just love owning it. And some cars I've had over the years, I've not had a connection with. I've bought them, not really had a connection with them. I just love going out in this car. Yeah, the furthest I've been, I was invited to take it to Carfest North in Cheshire. It was about 2-3 years ago. It was the hottest day of the year. It was blistering. I got caught in traffic on the M6, no air conditioning. It was horrendous. I was pouring bottles of water on my head just to keep cool. It was like being in a metal coffin. I was stationary for hours. And then when we got to Carfest, the heavens opened and it got cancelled in the end. They cancelled Carfest. Car got stuck in the mud. It was a nightmare. In fact, it's still got mud under it all these years later, the car. I would have paid anything on that day to have the AC working. But I tend to drive with the back window down, all the windows down. I've converted the passenger window to electric, so I can actually drop that now, because it's a long way to lean over when you're driving. Future plans is just to keep it on the road. I think I've gone as far as I can go with it. No plans to paint it, no plans to restore it, just keep it running. Maybe change what's on the roof if I can find something else.